The year is 1918, July 16th. The air hung heavy with dread in the Ipatiev house, a merchant's home turned prison in the Ural Mountains. Inside, Tsar Nicholas II, his wife Alexandra, and their 5 children huddled together, their royal lives reduced to fear and uncertainty. They had been prisoners of the Bolsheviks for months. As the clock ticked past midnight, the family was abruptly awoken. Yakov Yurovsky, the head of the firing squad, barked orders. The family, confused and terrified, was ushered into the basement. The room was dimly lit, the silence thick with anticipation. 11 men, their faces hardened by revolution, filed into the cramped space, their rifles glinting in the flickering candlelight. Yurovsky announced the execution order. A volley of gunshots erupted, the deafening roar echoing through the basement, through the house, through history itself. The room descended into chaos, smoke mingling with the stench of gunpowder and the screams of the terrified children. The brutal scene, forever etched in history, marked the end of an era. Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia, ascended the throne in 1894. He inherited a vast empire riddled with social and economic disparities. While the privileged few reveled in opulence, the vast majority of Russians toiled in poverty. Nicholas's inability to address these issues fanned the flames of revolution. Nicholas believed in the divine right of kings, clinging to his absolute power. This autocratic approach alienated him from his people, who yearned for political reform. The stage was set for revolution, the fuse lit and burning steadily towards an explosive climax. The year 1905 saw Russia teetering on the brink. Social unrest, fueled by economic hardship and political oppression, reached a boiling point. On January 22nd, a peaceful protest led by a priest named Georgy Gapon marched towards the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg. Their aim was to present a petition to the Tsar, outlining their grievances and pleading for reform. What transpired that day would forever stain the Romanov legacy. As the unarmed protesters approached the palace square, they were met with a hail of bullets fired by the Tsar's troops. Hundreds lay dead or dying in the snow, their pleas for justice silenced by the Tsar's brutal response. Bloody Sunday, as it came to be known, shattered any remaining illusion of the Tsar's benevolence. Adding fuel to the fire was Grigory Rasputin, a self-proclaimed holy man who exerted an unsettling influence over the Tsarina. Rasputin's apparent ability to alleviate the young Alexei's suffering from hemophilia gave him an almost mystical hold over Alexandra. His involvement in political affairs, his meddling in matters of state, further eroded the public's trust in the monarchy. World War I proved to be the final nail in the coffin of the Romanov dynasty. The war exposed the weaknesses of the Tsarist regime, its incompetence and inability to provide for its people. Millions of Russians perished on the battlefields, while back home, the economy crumbled and food shortages became rampant. In February 1917, revolution erupted in the streets of Petrograd, formerly St. Petersburg. The February Revolution, as it came to be known, forced Nicholas II to abdicate, ending 300 years of Romanov rule. The once mighty Tsar and his family were placed under house arrest, their fate uncertain. The provisional government, formed in the wake of the Tsar's abdication, promised reform and a brighter future for Russia. However, the new government was weak and unable to quell the unrest that had gripped the nation. The Bolsheviks, led by the charismatic Vladimir Lenin, seized the opportunity, promising peace, land, and bread to the war-weary population. Section 5. Final Days in Yekaterinburg, a family's fate sealed. Following the Bolshevik seizure of power in October 1917, the Romanovs were moved from one location to another, their lives hanging precariously in the balance. In April 1918 they were transported to Yekaterinburg, a city in the Ural Mountains, and imprisoned in the Ipatiev house. Their life in captivity was one of diminishing hope and increasing despair. Confined to their quarters, stripped of their titles and former grandeur, the Romanovs faced an uncertain future. The children, once accustomed to the luxuries of palace life, now found solace in simple routines and the unwavering love of their family. As the Bolsheviks tightened their grip on power, the fate of the Romanovs became increasingly precarious. With the White Army, loyal to the Tsar, advancing towards Yekaterinburg, the Bolsheviks feared the Romanovs might be liberated and used as a rallying point for counter-revolutionary forces. A decision was made, a chilling decree issued from Moscow to eliminate the Romanov family. Section 6. Whispers in the Night. The Cover-up and Lingering Doubts. In the aftermath of the executions, the Bolsheviks went to great lengths to conceal their barbaric act. The bodies were spirited away in the dead of night, their final resting place shrouded in secrecy. The official story, released to the public, claimed that Nicholas II had been executed following the discovery of a plot to liberate him, while the Tsarina and her children were safe. However, rumors of the family's true fate began to circulate, fueled by inconsistencies in the official narrative and whispers of a cover-up. The world watched and waited, hoping against hope that the rumors were false, that somewhere, somehow, the Romanov children had survived the massacre. The site of the execution, the Ipatiev house, became a place of pilgrimage, a somber reminder of the brutal end of an era. Yet, despite the overwhelming evidence, the lack of definitive proof regarding the fate of all the Romanovs allowed conspiracy theories to flourish, ensuring the mystery of the Romanovs would endure. Section 7. The Anastasia Question. Hope Endures. Amongst the many rumors and legends that sprung up in the aftermath of the Romanov execution, none captured the public imagination quite like the story of Anastasia. Whispers of the youngest Romanov daughter's survival spread like wildfire, fueled by eyewitness accounts of a young woman resembling Anastasia escaping the carnage. Over the years, numerous women came forward claiming to be the Grand Duchess Anastasia. The most famous of these was Anna Anderson, a woman with a striking resemblance to Anastasia who emerged in Germany in the 1920s. Anderson's claims, though ultimately disproven by DNA evidence, captivated the world and kept the legend of Anastasia alive for decades. The enduring fascination with Anastasia's fate speaks to a deep-seated human desire for hope, for a glimmer of light amidst the darkness of tragedy. The possibility, however improbable, that one of the Romanov children might have escaped the executioner's bullet provided a sense of solace, a belief that even in the face of unimaginable cruelty, hope could endure. Section 8. Unearthing the Truth. The Discovery of the Graves. In 1979, a group of amateur historians, armed with old maps and a thirst for the truth, embarked on a clandestine mission to locate the Romanov burial site. Their search led them to a remote forest road outside Yekaterinburg, where they uncovered a shallow grave containing the skeletal remains of 9 people. The discovery sent shockwaves across the globe, reigniting interest in the Romanov case and fueling speculation about the identity of the missing bodies. Years of meticulous forensic investigation, aided by advances in DNA technology, confirmed the remains to be those of Tsar Nicholas II, Tsarina Alexandra, and 3 of their daughters, Olga, Tatiana, and Anastasia. However, the remains of Alexei and one other daughter, believed to be Maria, were missing from the mass grave, adding another layer of mystery to the already complex case. It wasn't until 2007 that a second grave, located just meters from the first, was discovered, containing the remains of 2 individuals later identified as Alexei and Maria. Section 9. A Legacy in Ruins. Remembering the Romanovs. The tragic downfall of the Romanov dynasty serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power, social injustice, and the devastating consequences of revolution. The Romanovs, once symbols of absolute power and opulence, met a brutal end, their story a cautionary tale etched in the annals of history. In the years since their deaths, the Romanovs have been transformed from political figures into cultural icons, their story inspiring countless books, films, and documentaries. The fascination with their lives, their deaths, and the enduring mysteries surrounding their fate continues to captivate people around the world. The Romanovs were laid to rest in the Peter and Paul Cathedral in St. Petersburg in 1998, 80 years after their execution. Their reburial, attended by Russian President Boris Yeltsin, marked a symbolic closure to a dark chapter in Russian history. The Romanovs' legacy remains a subject of debate, their story a reminder of the fragility of power and the enduring allure of unsolved mysteries.